Hello Giants fans, welcome to Giants Baseball 101. I'm Gabe Vaughn, your host. Wow, that is all I can say. The Giants did the unbelievable today. They had another chance in extra innings and they won. And it was a hard-fought game all the way around. They had the lead 3 times and blew it. 3 leads, and the Rockies almost won. Bases were loaded, but the Giants held them at bay and got the lead for the final time on a sacrifice fly. Just an interesting game. And no, I'm not exaggerating. The Giants had the lead 3 times in this game, and the Rockies came back every single time. And yet the Giants won the game in the end, and that's what matters. By the way, I don't know if anyone can see that I'm using notes today, but it's necessary because this was such a big game. So much happened. It would be a lot to cram into my head, so I need to use notes. Also, I tried to see if there was a way to put it behind my camera so it wouldn't be in the picture, but I tried that and it just wasn't going to work, so I will be looking at some notes, but that's because there's just a lot of information. I want to go through every major detail of this great game where the Giants had 3 leads and blew them all and yet won the game in the end. Just a much needed win, a game that they absolutely had to win. There were no second options for them but to win this game. So, we start at the beginning. Jacob Junis, the starter today, I was really worried about him being a really big slider thrower, on how those were going to play out at Coors Field. I don't make excuses for pitchers, definitely, but it could be real, like especially for a guy like Junis who may have some weaknesses, or he struggled, I believe, in his last start against, I think it was the one before the last against the Padres. Yeah, the one before the last. He struggled with that slider, and then I was just worried about what it was going to mean, him throwing it at Coors Field. But he pitched, it wasn't absolutely great. He went 6 2/3 innings, gave up 3 runs, so it's pretty good. I'm glad Junis was as good as he was so the Giants could win the game, but it was just hard for them because so in the second inning, they got the scoring going. They did this thing that they've had just such a hard time doing in days past. They got the offense going early on in the game. Brandon Crawford and Austin Wynns both singled in the second inning. I really see a lot with Crawford's bat right now being hot and just being able to drive in runs. That's a good thing. It's not the same kind of veteran resurgence we saw from him last year, but he's good right now with the bat. So Crawford and Wynns each drove in a run on a single in the second inning. The Giants took a 2-0 lead into the 5th inning when Junis gave up a home run to Brian Serven, the Rockies catcher. And I forgot to check if that was on a breaking ball. I'd just be interested there, but anyway, Serven hit a home run against Junis to tie the game at 2. But in the top of the 7th, the Giants would take the lead again in a huge way. Evan Longoria hit a grand slam to make the lead 6-2. Longoria, still at his age, has something in his tank and in his bat. He hit the grand slam today. They took the lead 6-2. But the 4-run lead was not enough. Giants relievers couldn't hold it down. Tyler Rogers and Harleen Garcia both came in and pitched ineffectively. And the Rockies tied the game in the 8th inning. It was 6-6. And Camilo Doval had another chance to pitch today in the 9th inning, and he got through it fine. And so for the second straight day, the Giants game went into extra innings. That was the second lead the Giants had blown, and a 4-run lead. Like, even at Coors Field, that's got to be improbable that your team's going to blow a lead like that, but they did. So here the Giants found themselves in a game that should have already been won in extra innings, but they got things going. They didn't yesterday, but this time they were able to get things going in the 10th inning. Thairo Estrada singled in a run, and then Austin Wynns doubled to make it 8-6 with the Giants ahead. So that was a lead that they had a chance to shut out the Rockies on. But in the bottom of the 10th, Alex Young couldn't quite get it done. You know, he gave up a couple of runs there, albeit with the automatic runner on second for the Rockies, and the Rockies tied that game at 8. And then Dominic Leone relieved him and walked a batter to load the bases with 2 outs. Scary situation. So Dominic Leone is pitching in the bottom of the 10th. There were 2 outs in runners at all bases. Bases loaded, 2 outs, a run wins the game for the Rockies. You can't give up anything there. There was no margin for error. That's just the worst situation in a game you can face. That's where Leone was. The Rockies would have won if a runner had gotten home, but he got Sam Hilliard to pop out to end the threat. So a great job by Dominic Leone pitching out of the jam for the Giants. I have to point to that. That was what killed them yesterday. I just have to point to Leone getting the Giants out of a sticky situation there in the 10th inning with the bases loaded and keep them alive in the ballgame. And in the 11th inning, it wasn't a hit that drove in the run that would win the game for the Giants. It was a sacrifice fly by Wilmer Flores. Just the fact that he was able to put the ball in play when something like that would be better than a strikeout, and he did that, and the runner got home. The Giants took a 9-8 lead. Then in the bottom of the 11th inning, Zack Littell earned the save, and I know we were wondering, I mean, I hadn't talked about it too much, but I think people were wondering how Littell would pitch after coming back from the injured list. His ERA, as of 2022, is above 400. But he earned the save today with a runner on second base. He did a great job. And a call was overturned on a tag play at third base. When it was overturned, it ended the game, and the Giants won in extra innings. It's something that has not been happening this year, but it has happened now. The Giants won a game in extra innings. They were pushed to their absolute limits today. 3 leads. Rockies come back on every single one, and yet even that did not kill the Giants. Dominic Leone pitched out of a situation in which the Rockies could have won it with not a sacrifice, but the Rockies could have won it with a hit, an error, a walk, a hit batter, wild pitch, anything. There was no margin for error. The bases were loaded. Leone got out of that. Littell got the save. I would say on the pitching side, it's those 2 guys that really did it for the Giants, Dominic Leone and Zack Littell today. And their hitting, they lost their lead 3 times, and they kept going. Wilmer Flores eventually did it with a sacrifice fly. I think it was just bats being really hot today. They kept fighting, and they won this game. A game it was an absolute must-win game in extra innings, and the Giants have done what is just seemingly impossible for this ball club today. They've won this game in extra innings, even though it required getting ahead of the Rockies 4 different times in the game. And they played, and there was just look at it from an extra innings perspective, just the fact that there was a struggle at all in extra innings, what you expect is for the winning run to come in somehow for the other team, but that's not how it happened today. That's what I'm highlighting about Dominic Leone. After there was a struggle, they blew their lead. Leone got out of it to give them a chance. That's what I'm highlighting about him. And Littell, I'm just highlighting getting the 1-run save there with a runner on second. So great game, great day for the Giants. It really does still give me some hope that they could be in this thing. They just need to keep fighting here. Thank you for watching. This has been Giants Baseball 101. Please subscribe. Please make sure that you subscribe if you have not. Also, please either comment or email me at gabrielvaughn89@gmail.com. If you've got questions or comments, I would love to hear them, and I'll try to respond. Thank you. I will see you next time on Giants Baseball 101 as the Giants take on the Tigers.